and welcome to Clutter Clearing HQ. My name's Claire Baker. I'm a former clutterholic, and I now help other cluttered people to clear their clutter forever, just like I did back in 2001. And touch wood, I've been clutter-free ever since. I hope this finds you well. Whatever your Christmas consisted of, I hope that it was a peaceful one and a happy one. Whatever you were up to. It's very quiet for my husband and I this year because it's only 6 weeks since my husband's father passed away, my father-in-law, who I was very close to. So we're kind of still in the aftermath of that, getting used to him not being around. He was supposed to be with us on Christmas Day and for Christmas week, so it's a little bit strange. And the week before we lost my father-in-law, we actually lost one of our cats as well. So it's been fairly full on for the last couple of months. And indeed the year has been very, very busy. I don't know about you, but this is a time, the week between Christmas and New Year, is the time when it's a good chance, a good opportunity to reflect on the year we've had. Because I'm sure, like many people, you're thinking ahead to 2016. Not necessarily thinking about New Year's resolutions. I don't do New Year's resolutions simply because I know that I'm not going to succeed with them. I would rather start resolutions, as it were, at other times of the year. Less pressure and less chance of failure if I start them at other times of the year. So I've actually already started a couple last week. But I'm certainly thinking ahead to 2016. What do I want to have different in my life next year? What are my priorities for next year going to be? What do I want and need to spend time and effort on next year? And you may be doing the same. Now, a lot of people spend this time just before New Year reflecting on their clutter. Certainly when I had my clutter challenge, New Year was a time when I reflected and thought, oh, once again, I have completely failed at clearing my clutter. Yet I still put it on my list every year, and then every following New Year, I would think, oh, failed again. I may have had blitzes throughout that year, but I never actually succeeded at clearing all of the backlog and keeping it clear. This may sound familiar. And it was actually the millennium New Year's Eve when I finally decided, you know what, if I am going to succeed at this New Year's resolution that I have had on my list for years, then I'm going to have to do something fairly dramatically different. And instead of setting myself a New Year's resolution of clearing my clutter, I set myself a New Year's resolution of finding out how to clear my clutter for good, which is very different to clearing your clutter. I was very good at clearing my clutter when I had blitzes. I was very good at being ruthless when I wanted and needed to be, but the clutter always grew back. So I decided to come at it from a different perspective. I wanted to clear it once and for all, to never have to have a blitz again. I never wanted to be ruthless again. I never wanted to be regretting the decisions that I had made. I wanted to clear my clutter in a way that was going to enable me to clear it slowly but surely and to keep it clear. Touch wood. That's why I've been clutter-free since 2001. So my first resolution on Millennium Eve 2000 or 1999 into 2000, my resolution that year was different. My resolution was to find out how to clear my clutter. Now, it took me a year to actually find and discover what it was that naturally clutter-free people did that I wasn't doing. What was the thing I was doing wrong? It took me a year to figure that out. You're lucky. You don't need to spend a year working out how to do that, because I've already done that for you. It is the clutter clearing process. But it then took me a further year to actually clear my clutter. It's not going to be a quick fix. There is no magic wand. Okay, so if you're watching this hoping that I would be telling you that new for 2016 is this magic pill, if you take it, you go to bed one night, wake up, and the clutter all magically disappeared the following morning. I would love to be able to do that, but sadly that is not yet discovered. It's very unlikely that that will ever happen. Unfortunately, it is going to require our time and our effort, which is why clearing our clutter is a journey, not a one-off event. So, given that we're at this period in the year where we may be thinking ahead to 2016 and thinking, what are my priorities for next year? We kind of need to know whether or not clearing our clutter is a priority, because if it is going to take some of our time, if it is going to require some of our time, if it is going to require energy, if it is going to require effort, we need to be pretty sure that this is something we are really committed to working on in 2016. So, to help you figure out whether clearing your clutter is actually a priority for 2016, here's something that may help. Okay, now I did this with some people in a live workshop the week before Christmas. So if you were on that workshop, this may look familiar. I'm going to be using my new beautiful pens that my board pens that my husband bought me for Christmas, something I very much need and very much want. Okay, so I apologise now for my drawing. I apologise now for my writing. I will never win a prize for my writing and drawing on the board. Okay, so I will explain what I am writing so that hopefully you can hear and understand. You might want a pen or a pencil and a pad of paper to do this as I draw it on the board. So I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm going to put in the middle your life. Okay. This is your life. Ooh, can you see that? I hope you can. So I would put in there Claire's life, because my name's Claire. Okay. Then we are going to draw a bigger outer circle. Oh, squeaky pen, squeaky pen, squeaky pen. That's okay. Cat's looking confused. She's lying in front of my gas heater, wondering what the noise is. Okay, so I've drawn a bigger black outer circle, and I'm going to divide that outer circle into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 parts. So cut it in half, cut it in half again, cut those in half, cut those in half, and that should make 8 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's all going well so far. Okay. Now, this is what I call the wheel of life. And when I went through my personal my personal journey, I started my clutter clearing journey back in 2001. This was one big learning for me in terms of the fact that my clutter, although it felt like it was taking over my life and that it was the only thing that mattered, and it was the thing that dominated my life, it wasn't actually the only part of my life. There were actually 8 segments or sections to my life, and each one of these represents one of those segments. So I'm going to write on here what they are. Okay, and you may be familiar with these. I need my little notes here just in case I forget. Okay, so I'm going to start with this segment here. This segment is what we call significant other. Significant significant other / romance. So it may be your significant other, or it could be romance. Now, just a little word to the wise here. When I had my clutter challenge, I was single. I did want a significant other in my life, and I do now have my husband. We'll have been married 10 years in 2016. I never imagined when I had my clutter that he would come into my life, but he did. However, at the time that I had my clutter challenge back in 2000 on this New Year's Eve, Millennium New Year's Eve, my significant other, and please don't laugh at me, but my significant other was my cat. I lived in my cluttered home, my cluttered house, with Betty the cat. She was deaf. She was old, she was frail, she was a rescue cat, loved her to pieces. She was my significant other because she was the person, the thing, the life that I spent most of my time with. It wasn't a partner that I lived with, it wasn't a lodger, it wasn't my parents, it was my cat. So don't assume that when I say significant other, it means a romantic partner, because that is not what it necessarily represents or means. I used to talk to my cat all the time. I'm sure my neighbours, if they'd heard me, would have thought I was a little bit too lally. I probably was, but that's okay, doesn't matter. So again, it doesn't necessarily mean. Now my significant other is my husband. The romance bit, that's a little tricky. We both work very hard. But nonetheless, now instead of the cat, it is my husband, Keith. But I still have 2 cats in my life, so they are still part of my significant other segment of my life. Okay, good. The next segment is work or career. Work or career. Now, again, please don't make the assumption that this is paid work or a career. This can be either or. This is whatever fills the majority of your time. Okay, so it may be paid work, it may be voluntary work, it may be being the main caregiver, bringing up children, it may be supporting a partner. Whatever it is that you fill the largest part of your time with is this section. Even with my clutter clearing, running the clutter clearing consultancy, that is my work. I don't consider it a career. It's not like I can get a promotion. It is my work and I do love it and I'm very lucky. But I wouldn't say that it was career. So again, interpret that description in whatever way seems appropriate for you. Next segment, the third segment round, is joy and fun. Joy and fun. What do you do for joy and fun? This is the one I struggle with every year when I kind of reassess my life. Joy and fun. What do I fill my time with there? I would actually say that gardening for me fits into the joy and fun section. Going for my walks, spending time with friends and family, that does come into another section as well. But this would also be probably hobbies, which I know a lot of people with clutter do have an awful lot of things in their clutter that relate to hobbies. So it may be that comes out. But again, interpret joy and fun however you interpret joy and fun. Next section round. Now this is the one that most people associate with their clutter. And I'm going to do this in my orange pen in my pack. I hope this shows up, because this is usually the section of life, of the wheel of life, that people relate to the clutter. And this is physical environment. Physical environment. M-E. Physical environment. The environment you live in, and indeed the environment you work in, can affect your life. There's a lot of research that's actually been done into sick building syndrome for employees. If a building it has certain qualities, it can cause employees to be less effective, more depressed, less productive, lots of elements that can go into it. But again, if we are having to live in a physical environment that is cluttered, that can negatively affect us in terms of our life as a whole. Again, clutter can feel like it dominates our lives, but as we are seeing, it's actually only one part of it. But if that is really a dominant section, and we don't have much in the other sections, come on to that in a minute, then that's why it can feel as though that is just taking up our whole lives. And the struggle to control and maintain and contain the clutter can feel like it dominates our lives. Okay, the next section. I hope this is making sense. The next section is friends, family, social. Friends, family, social. So again, you may not necessarily have any friends in particular, but you may spend and like family. It may be that you don't have any friends, you don't have any family, but you do have some social friends, maybe some neighbours, colleagues, so it could be any combination of those. Essentially, that is contact with other people on a non-work basis. We can be friends with colleagues, can't we? But again, that is interaction with other people. Next column round is health. 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 Okay. So again, if we are poorly, if we're ill, this can feel like this section of our wheel of life dominates our lives, although it may not. Now, interestingly, the physical environment can affect our health. If we have clutter, clutter can cause extreme anxiety. Hoarders generally suffer from anxiety and depression. A lot of my clients who have what I call regular levels of clutter will suffer from anxiety and depression. Now, it doesn't mean that if you don't suffer from anxiety and depression, you haven't got a clutter problem at all. I'm just saying that there are quite a lot of people who do. So if you do struggle with anxiety and depression and you have a clutter challenge, then please know that you are not alone. Quite a lot of my clients over the years have also had quite serious health issues. They've either got cancer, are recovering from cancer, or have got physical health issues. They can't lift and shift the clutter because they're restricted to a wheelchair. Again, we have ways of getting around that. That need not be a particular restriction. You can still clear your clutter even if you are limited to being in a wheelchair. But again, health can be quite a dominant factor, can't it? Last two, this segment is our financial segment. Financial. Lots of people with clutter will say to me, Claire, I really need your help, but I haven't got any money to be able to get the help. So if we are experiencing financial struggles, if in the past we know what it's like to struggle financially, that can actually sometimes fuel the clutter. We store up things because we know what it's like to struggle financially. So when we can get things on special offer, if we can bulk buy, we stockpile, so that if we do go through another period in our lives where you know that there is financial struggle, at least we know that we have some things, stockpiled in case we can't afford to buy them in the future. So the financial aspect can be quite linked to the clutter, our physical environment. And the last section, which is an important one, but most people that I do this exercise with don't necessarily have anything for this section, is personal development. Personal development. I apologise for my writing. I apologise if you can't see it clearly. I will just quickly run through those again. So the 8 sections of your wheel of life are significant other or romance, work/career, joy and fun, physical environment, friends, family, social, health, financial, and personal development. Okay. Now the idea is, the concept is that if you have elements of your life, elements of your time are taken up with these things in a equally balanced amount, then that enables your wheel of life to turn smoothly. I will explain more about that tomorrow, okay? But just looking at that circle, looking at that wheel of life with the 8 segments that I've just briefly described, are you aware that this year, 2015, that maybe some of those segments, those sections, have either been missing or lacking in your life? Are there segments or sections there that you think, I haven't done a lot of that, or I haven't had a lot of that, or I haven't been happy with that area of my life? Like I mentioned, I know I always struggle a bit with the joy and fun, because for me, work is joy and fun. I love what I do. And I always get encouraged by my coach that actually I need to have non-work related joy and fun. The personal development, this year in particular, 2015, I have made a conscious effort to have some personal development time in my life, to do some courses that are of interest to me, and again, not necessarily work related. So it is a challenge, kind of balancing all these 8 segments. But it may be that you look back on 2015 and go, okay, yeah, I can see that actually one particular segment perhaps dominated my life in 2015. Now, as I said, I will just build on this a little bit tomorrow in a short video. But what I would suggest that you do between now and then is that you just make a note of which segment was perhaps dominant compared to the others. Most people find that there are 1 or 2 segments that are more dominant in their lives than others. And for comparison, is there a particular segment that you feel that you want or need to work on next year in 2016? So for me, for example, my work career section has certainly dominated in 2015, and I don't have a problem with that because I do enjoy my work and career. But for next year, 2016, I would like to concentrate on my health segment, because I know that I haven't been as healthy, I haven't kept up fitness as I should this year, or not should, would like to. So I would like to concentrate on this segment a little bit more next year. Okay, interestingly, they're on opposite sides of the wheel of life. Okay, does that make a little bit of sense? It's really important that we take this opportunity, take this time this week before the new year arrives, to just reflect back on the year we've had. Notice which parts of our wheel of life have perhaps been a little bit less than we would like them to be, or maybe have been more than we would like to. Which ones have been a bit dominant? And to think ahead to next year and actually say, well, actually, which ones would I like to work on? Which ones could I realistically work on? Which ones are worth my time and my effort next year? Yeah. Tomorrow I will build on what we've touched upon today. But do share in that comment box below if you've had perhaps a light bulb moment watching this video, whether there is a particular section that has perhaps been a bit dominant. Even though you may not have succeeded at clearing your clutter this year, 2015, it may be that your physical environment has been very dominant this year. So again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have been a success in a particular area, a segment that has been dominant. It just means that it's been dominant. It's taken up our thinking time, it's taken up our energy, even though we may not have quite achieved what we wanted to achieve in that dominant section or segment. Okay, a bit of thinking time. Do share below, because I have no doubt that we will start to see some patterns emerge. And then in the video tomorrow, I will be able to share people's feedback as to which segments have perhaps been dominant this year or have been less than they would like this year, and then we can take the next step in figuring out whether clearing our clutter in 2016 is actually a priority. Okay, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. Let me know below what you've discovered from looking at the Wheel of Life, and I shall see you again tomorrow. Take care.